With the president meeting Asian Pacific leaders in Seattle, the future of jobs and crime in America stay on the front burner.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather in New York and Connie Chung in Seattle.
Good evening. Here in Seattle tonight, President Clinton was talking up more U.S. trade with Asian and Pacific leaders when he got a nasty surprise on the home front. The handgun control legislation that looked like a sure winner in the U.S. Congress has been ambushed by the gun lobby. Correspondent Linda Douglas has the story from Washington.
In a year when crime has become America's #1 concern and support for gun control is rising, political conditions finally seemed ripe for passage of the so-called Brady Bill, a 5-day waiting period to purchase a handgun. Yet for the bill's namesake, former Reagan press secretary Jim Brady, victory seemed again painfully out of reach, as gun control opponents in the Senate blocked a vote with a filibuster against the legislation.
There is really no great correlation between gun ownership and crimes. There's a correlation between criminal possession of guns and crimes.
It is better to do nothing than do something that will have no useful impact and no useful effect.
Brady Bill supporters will try to force a vote late tonight, but with the bill's passage in serious jeopardy, Jim Brady's wife, Sarah, boiled over in frustration.
Every day we wait, 65 more people are going to die. I am appalled that they have called upon this filibustering tactic to appease the NRA. I am furious.
The Brady Bill is a major feature of President Clinton's crime package. This morning, the Senate passed the rest of the president's crime bill, adding some fierce finishing touches of its own. In addition to 100,000 more police on the street, boot camps for young offenders, and a ban on assault weapons, the death penalty would be applied to 50 more crimes. 3-time offenders would get life in prison without parole, and some juveniles would be tried as adults. But if supporters are unable to end the filibuster against the Brady Bill, the measure will fail yet again, a sign that the legendary political power of the gun lobby, which some thought was fading, is still very much intact. Linda Douglas, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And more turmoil in the U.S. Senate tonight. Oregon's Republican Senator Bob Packwood is reported to be on the verge of resigning in the face of new accusations about possible wrongdoing. And some insiders on Capitol Hill believe that the decision basically already has been made. Let's check into this confusing situation with our chief Washington correspondent, Bob Schieffer, for the latest. Bob?
Dan, CBS News has learned Senator Packwood wants to resign his Senate seat, but he wants some assurance that if he does step down, all investigations into his activities will cease, and thus far he has not received those assurances. This comes as an Oregon newspaper, the Oregonian, reports that an investigation has intensified into whether Senator Packwood did political favors for a Japanese company accused of unfair trade practices, and whether that led to the company offering his former wife a job. All the senator's lawyer would say tonight is he's thinking about quitting.
The matter is under consideration at this point. No final decision has been made. I think he is seriously looking at all the questions that are before him.
The Senate Ethics Committee has been investigating Packwood since 26 women, some of them former employees, accused him of sexual harassment. As the ranking Republican on the Finance Committee, he's been one of the Capitol's most influential senators. But when he fought Ethics Committee efforts to examine his diaries earlier this month, the Senate's senior Democrat said he should resign.
Mr. President, none of us is pure or without flaws. But when those flaws damage the institution of the Senate, it is time to have the grace to go.
One of Senator Packwood's colleagues said tonight he is convinced that Packwood now does want to go as soon as possible. But he said he just wants some assurance that once he goes, all this will be over. Dan?
Bob Schieffer, live on Capitol Hill. Thanks.
The Packwood story, of course, is especially big news out here in the Pacific Northwest, the senator's home turf. And it came as President Clinton was here in Seattle talking up more trade with Asian and Pacific countries as the best way to help the U.S. economy and create jobs. White House correspondent Rita Braver reports the president got some unexpected help today in making his argument.